Bassist Geezer Butler painted his entire apartment matte black, hung upside-down crucifixes on the walls, and covered every surface with pictures of Satan. One night he borrowed an occult book from his singer, fell asleep with it on his nightstand, and woke up to find a black silhouetted figure standing at the foot of his bed. When he looked for the book to prove it had happened, the book was gone. 3 days later, that exact vision became the opening lyric of the song that accidentally invented heavy metal. The year is 1968. 4 teenagers from the industrial city of Birmingham, England, form a blues band. They call themselves the Polka Tulk Blues Band, named after a brand of talcum powder Ozzy Osbourne's mother used to buy. They renamed themselves Earth shortly after. Guitarist Tony Iommi had lost the tips of 2 fingers on his right hand in a factory accident before he ever joined the band, forcing him to build his own prosthetic fingertips out of a melted plastic detergent bottle and tune his guitar down to lighter gauge banjo strings just to keep playing. That single accident and the down-tuned, heavier sound it forced him into became the technical foundation of an entire genre that did not exist yet. Across the street from their rehearsal space in Birmingham sat a small cinema. One afternoon, Geezer Butler noticed something strange. Long lines of people paying real money specifically to be frightened. He turned to the band and said, "If people pay this much to feel scared at a horror movie, why don't we just write scary music instead?" The cinema was screening a 1963 Italian horror anthology film starring Boris Karloff, directed by Mario Bava. Its title was Black Sabbath. Around the same time, Geezer Butler had become deeply interested in the occult. He rented an apartment and painted it completely matte black. He hung inverted crucifixes on the walls. He covered every surface in photographs and imagery of Satan. Ozzy Osbourne, seeing how deep his bandmates' fascination had gone, lent him a centuries-old book on black magic and witchcraft. Butler read it that night, placed it on the shelf beside his bed, and fell asleep. When he woke up, he saw a large black silhouetted figure standing perfectly still at the foot of his bed, staring at him. After a few terrifying seconds, it vanished into thin air. Butler immediately reached for the witchcraft book to check it again. The book itself had also vanished. It was never found. Butler told Ozzy Osbourne about the experience the very next morning. The story stayed lodged in Osbourne's mind for 3 days. Then, while the band was jamming on a new riff Tony Iommi had written, built on the ominous interval musicians call the Devil's Tritone, Osbourne opened his mouth and the lyrics simply came out, almost involuntarily. "What is this that stands before me, figure in black which points at me?" Osbourne was not writing fiction. He was describing, almost word for word, exactly what Geezer Butler had told him 3 days earlier. The song was recorded in a single take as part of a legendary 12-hour album session in October 1969. When the band needed a permanent new name shortly afterward, they looked at the song they had just written and simply took its title. Earth became Black Sabbath. The song opens with rain, distant thunder, and a tolling church bell before Iommi's guitar enters almost 40 seconds in, playing 3 notes that Western classical composers had nicknamed the Devil's Interval for roughly 400 years, banned from religious music during the medieval period for sounding, quite literally, satanic. Black Sabbath is widely credited by music historians as the first true heavy metal song ever recorded. The self-titled debut album was released on Friday the 13th, February 1970. It was recorded in exactly 12 hours, essentially a single live studio take of the band's stage set, with almost no overdubs. Rolling Stone magazine originally gave the album a savage review, comparing the band unfavorably to Cream and dismissing them outright. The album still went gold. It has since sold over 8 million copies worldwide. Geezer Butler never saw the black figure again. He also never got his witchcraft book back. Decades later, when asked directly whether he believed what he saw that night was real, he said simply that it was the most terrifying moment of his life, and that he still could not explain where the book had gone.